welcome to round 5 of my continuous battle royales. Today I have 20 more for this little tournament here. And then I was talking to my friend Joe, actually, and he messaged me and said it'd be cool if after I got to 16, if I did like a King of the Ring tournament where I put 1 against 1 in the ring, all my winners. So after I hit 16 episodes done, I'll take the winner of each episode and I'll put them in head-to-head battles until I determine a final winner of the first 16 episodes, and that will be the king. And that'll be the King of the Ring until I knock off 16 more, and then put those ones together and just keep going until I have like the end all top of the top, basically, right? Which sounded fun. Long. It's going to take me a long time to get there. It's a lot of movies to watch and go through, but that's my plan. I'm sticking to that for probably the rest of this year. I'm just going to keep on doing this because I'm having tons of fun. The 20 I brought today, some of them I've seen multiple times, didn't need a rewatch. Some of them I had only ever seen once, so I needed a second watching to give them a proper ranking. And then there's a couple I've seen for the first time, so this will be a fun one. I'll put all the contestants into the ring here. First up, I have Ingagi. The Prowler. The Stylist. Smile 2. Suspiria. The Mist. Strange Darling. Sisu. Broken Arrow. Mulan, the live action. The Brood. Evil Dead Rise. Tremors. Castle Freak. This is the remake, not the original. Knock at the Cabin. Pompeii. Ooh, will they all fit in this ring? Poor Things. The Owners. Oh, I'm gonna have to straighten them out here a bit to fit the last two in. Two Witches. And last, Alien Outlaw. So this is my stack, my 20, to see who is my 5th champion, making it into my top 16. And oh man, was this a hard one. They're all hard, actually, because it's really tough, like I've said before, to rate different genres against different genres. And it's also hard to like figure out whether or not you are basing it on like your personal opinion, rewatchability. So basically I just take everything into consideration. This is based on, first and foremost, my favorite. So it's my personal favorite movies. And then everything else comes secondary. Obviously, quality, filmmaking, all that stuff usually just helps make a movie my favorite. So I just consider my favorites. These are my top 20s every time, and everybody's would probably be different. Or, who knows, maybe it'd be the exact same. It'd be interesting. So, I'll get right to her here, because this is a big one. Up at number 20, we have from Kino Lorber. This is from them collaborating with Something Weird. And it's bringing a 1930, I believe, 1930 movie, Ingagi. This is from a line that has a numbered spine, the Something Weird line. This is the only one I have from this line. And I would like to start getting a few of the other ones because some of them look pretty wild. So hopefully in the future I'll be bringing some of those. This was like a band movie. It has all kinds of just things that could not be shown in today's, and nor should they for some of them. Like there's some brutal animal killings in this that are all real. There's some pretty heavy racism. Like there's some rough stuff in this movie. It's why I bought this one, because it's considered a horror movie, first off, and I'm a huge collector of horror in general. As you can tell, a lot of my 20 movie battles, like half of them are horror all the time. And I watched this. This was the second watch for this. I watched it once. I did this early on YouTube, actually. It's in one of my first episodes I talked about this movie in more depth. So I won't go deep. Like I said in the last episode, I'm going to try and keep these episodes a little less lengthy. This one is about a film crew, an American film crew that travels to a African. It's African, right? I don't want to get the places wrong. Yeah, the African wilds, and they're like filming a jungle tribe and their practices and stuff. And basically it's just a series of watching this tribe brutalize animals and hunt them. And although it can be controversial, I mean, it does feel like they're hunting them to eat and stuff. So it's not like, who am I to tell them that what they're allowed to kill in their country, right? So I'm not sure. But with that said, all that controversy aside, this movie is shit. This is garbage. I gave this a half a star. It's in 20th place here. And it's just so fucking boring. Like, nothing happens. It's literally that's what you're getting, is what I just told you. And then at the end they throw in a little bit of like feels like cannibal Holocaust, but obviously not that kind of gore and stuff. It just feels like they throw a little bit of that story at the end, but it's not good. This was a bore fest. I watched it the first time, I hated it. And then I watched it the second time and thought, well, maybe I'll go in with this more open-minded, and no. Not for me, but that doesn't deter me from buying more from this line, because they have some other crazy ones. Like, this is number 8, so need to get the first 7, I guess. But yeah, at number 20, we have Ingagi. At number 19, we have the cinematic masterpiece, Pompeii. I pretty much only watched this. The first time I watched this was back when it came out, and it's because it has Kit Harington from Game of Thrones, who plays Jon Snow, and I was obsessed with Game of Thrones. So when I seen, oh, he's in a movie, I was like, oh fuck, we gotta see this. It's gonna be good. And then it's based on the true events of Pompeii, and which is always been really like enticing to me. Like something I love is like disaster movies, especially if they're based in real or on real events. But this movie disappoints. I gave this a 1.5, and that's just because it was cool to see the volcano erupt in Pompeii and people running for their lives. Like, when I say cool, I mean it's based on a true event, so it's not cool. It was just exhilarating to be like, holy fuck, I couldn't imagine if I was seeing something like that in real life. So based on that alone, because the acting's fucking terrible, the storyline is so stupid and pointless, and I'm just not a fan. I'll never watch this one again. This will be my last watch for it. So it's sitting at a 1.5. That's where it will probably stay forever. And it's sitting at 19. So it's not winning this tournament. And then at number 18, we have Alien Outlaw. This is one that it's part of Kino Cult's line. This is number 2. I already did, in a previous episode, I did Kino Cult's number 1, and now I watched number 2 here in their line. And this one is a step up from the last one. Not much. I gave this a 2, pushing on a 2.5. It's just crazy, like, fun. I tried to think of a more descriptive word, but it's just, like, ridiculous fun. Like, but, man, this one's so hard to describe because I don't want to oversell it and then people buy it, watch it, and they're like, holy fuck, was that ever cheap? It's like regional horror, shot in like like in the deep south. I don't think it tells you where exactly here these movies were shot, but it feels like the filmmaker Phil Smoot here, like, shot this in his local town and on like his own personal farm, basically. It's that level of budget. But this alien lands here, and cool design for how micro budget this is. And basically, it's just an outlaw. Like, it's just running around shooting people, and all the cowboys and people of the city are fighting back. And this girl here is the local, like, shooting champion, and she rallies, basically. Oops, knock that over. She rallies the town and goes to take down this alien. And that's pretty much what it is. Cheesy ass lines, cheesy ass costumes, a little bit of sexploitation here. But it's worth checking out. This one is a step up from their number 1 release, which was Lorna the Exorcist. That one was different. But yeah, Lash LaRue in Alien Outlaw at number 18. And at number 17, I have Castle Freak. This, it could have been so much better. I gave this a 2 as well. It has some cool elements, but I've seen the original Castle Freak with Barbara Crampton. Barbara Crampton's a producer on this one. And it's not terrible. Like, it's worth checking out if you're a fan of just, like, well, castle horror, first off, because the whole movie practically takes place inside this castle that this girl inherits from her family, and she brings friends there, and they're partying and just celebrating because she just inherited a castle. But there's a freak, we'll call it. It looks like a breed between a demon and an alien or something, and it's living inside the walls, and it starts picking these people off one by one. It's your classic slasher type stuff here, but it does have a little more to the storyline, who it is, like what is the creature and everything. So it's somewhat intriguing. It's not great. Don't go into this thinking you're getting some kind of awesome horror movie. Just think low budget, reasonable acting. But I will say that there is a sex scene in this movie that is worth the price of admission. And it's between the one of the male actors and the freak. It's pretty fucking crazy shit. I won't even say anymore. But that's my number 17. And at number 16 was a disappointing Disney movie, yet again, and that's the Mulan live action. I was excited about this. It has some of my favorite martial arts, Chinese martial arts actors in here. Like, we got Donnie Yen. The problem I have with this is it's not a terrible movie. I gave this a 2 again. It's not a terrible movie. It's just so much different than the animated Mulan. They're missing. First off, it's not a musical, and some of the songs from Mulan are very memorable, and that was a disappointment. Like, the biggest disappointment, to be honest. I was looking forward to seeing some of these characters sing some of those songs, and it never happens. So that's a number one. Probably the biggest reason why this movie went nowhere and made no money, because it's just, you can't remake a Disney classic musical animated film and not have music in it. It's fucking irritating. But all the acting's good and everything. Just, yeah, keep it short and simple in that one. And then at number 15, from Arrow Video here, we have Two Witches. This is a newer movie. This came out in like 2023? 2022? Doesn't say, but I think it's 2022. And this is extremely low budget. I'll show off some of the packaging here on this one first before I talk about it. It's got the slip cover, and then it's got the reversible art on the inside. And it comes with your Blu-ray disc here. Comes with a pretty damn thick booklet and a poster. Oh, okay. I'll show off both. So we got our booklet here, giving you all your knowledge that you need to know. It actually tells you about the two witches and what, like, just more info on them and how they came up with the idea and stuff. And then you got yourself a double-sided poster that represents the art that's on the cases, like always. It's not huge, it's a normal size one. Both sides. I actually think I like this one better just because of the claw. Their faces, a little more demon-y. Now, these posters can be, this poster and artwork can be very misleading on this movie. I gave this a 2.5. And it's because the two lead actresses here that play the witches, it's basically, here, I'll start at the end. It's an anthology, but it only has 2 stories. 2 witches. One witch and then the second witch's story. And then they come together as one story. And it makes sense. And I enjoyed that aspect of it. And I also really liked the 2 lead actresses here, because they do all of the, like, their facial expressions are what's selling the fact that they're scary. Like, it's just the looks on their faces. There's no, like, special effects or anything. It's just them, like, distorting their face to look creepy. And I actually, it was kind of creepy in some spots. But it would have been higher if, I think, first off, if it had a bigger budget. Because it feels too cheap to be bigger than a 2.5. Like, it just feels, it bugs me. It's hard on these movies because it's hard to compare a movie that has no budget at all and it feels like I could have filmed it using a cell phone or something to something that's got a budget. It's really tough. So like I'll probably never watch it again. It was a one-time watch, just because the storyline, I don't think it needs to be rewatched. So 2.5, enjoyable, not rewatchable. But yeah, it's an anthology about two witches, and there is a couple gross parts in it. Nasty witch shit, obviously. At number 14 here, we're eliminating a John Woo movie, and that's Broken Arrow. 1996 action flick, starring Slater and Travolta here. I was never a huge fan of this one. I did a 1996 ranking last year where I ranked like everything I had from the whole year. It was pushing 100 movies, and I watched it then, and I was just like, oh, this is just so run of the mill. It doesn't do anything special to me. And this is a hot take, but I've never been a big fan of Christian Slater. My wife hates John Travolta, but I don't really like Christian Slater's acting. It just, I don't know, I don't hate it. But it's hard to talk about this one. Like, they're both in the military. Travolta is the villain, and he's planning on stealing a nuke and selling it, and he does something to set up Christian Slater to make it look like he's the bad guy doing it, and it just becomes like a out in the desert action movie. It's got some solid action scenes. Travolta's always a good villain. I like him as a bad guy. He usually sells that really good. It's worth a watch. This was a 2.5 again for me. Just gonna have a smoke here. And then I'm gonna get to number 13. And number 13 is The Owners. This was a movie I had never heard of. I bought it when I was doing like a 2020 collecting, because I'll get in, that's how I collect basically. Once in a while I'll just be like hooked on a year. So I'll just start buying all the movies I don't have from that year. This was one of them. It stars Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones, plays Arya Stark. So I was like, alright, I'll check this out. And it's a home invasion movie. Her boyfriend and their friends are breaking into this older couple's house to check out this vault that they have in this house. And the vault, they don't know what's in it, but they know that they have this huge vault. And Maisie Williams doesn't want to, she's reluctant. And it's kind of like Don't Breathe situation. And once they get in there, shit just hits the fan. This old couple sell this movie. They're just uncomfortable. And they're not who they seem to be. They broke into the wrong people's house. That's what this movie is. That's the best I can sell that movie without ruining anything. It's another 2.5. Took my 13th spot. It's worth watching. At number 12, we have a movie that I was expecting to like more than I did. And that is Sisu. When I first heard about this movie a couple of years, will it come out in 2022? 2023, so I guess almost 2 years ago now. Ridiculous how fast time goes. I heard that it was like a foreign John Wick. That's what I heard. It was like a John Wick clone, and I loved the John Wick movie, so I was like, ooh, Nazis and John Wick, watching a guy murder the shit out of Nazis, that sounds good. And it is. All the part action scenes in the movie are awesome. I give this a 3. Pushing towards 3.5-ish, but a 3. And I love the acting of the lead actor here, and then all the acting, everything's good. I just couldn't get myself into it for some reason. Like, some people might absolutely love this one, but I just couldn't get sucked into it when I was watching it. This was a second watch, and it was the same thing. But I was expecting just a little bit more brutality in it. It's not as brutal as all of these quotes all over it make it out to be. But it's just a dude who the Nazis have lost the war, and they're supposed to be leaving Finland, pulling out of the country, and they run across him and they start fucking with them, and shit just goes from there. Basically, they fucked with the wrong guy. It's one of those. But yeah, Sisu at number 12. At number 11, we're gonna knock off an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and that is Knock at the Cabin. This movie is really interesting and kept me sucked in the entire movie. Like, I was constantly like involved and just wanting to see. All the acting's phenomenal. Batista's awesome in this movie. His best performance of his career, probably. And everybody's good. But I have this problem with M. Night Shyamalan, and that's that because his first movies were so twist-filled. I think everybody has this problem. I'm always expecting a twist, and this has no twist. It is exactly as it is, as it plays out right to the ending. Spoilers if anybody hasn't seen it, but it's a good, intense, apocalyptic style movie that's worth a watch. It's a 3 for me. And it just doesn't deliver on the ending I was hoping for. I'll just keep it simple. And now, my top 10. Which one is going to take the crown for this episode? I am going to start by eliminating from Blue Underground, who I have to shout out. They do amazing transfers. Their Blu-rays look as good as some 4Ks. Like, it's kind of insane. It's nice. And then their 4Ks look fucking cool. Like, they're like noteworthy when they put out 4Ks. But this is the Prowler. 1981, I believe. Yep, 1981. Amazing cover. Awesome freaking killer. Tom Savini doing the special effects in this. Some of the best he's ever done in his career. Like, the kills are off the fucking chart. The storyline isn't, however. And I found myself bored. But, this is a 3 again. For me. This is really close to a 3.5 for me. Maybe it even is. Might be a 3.5. I love the setting. It feels like the movie is set in like 50s, 60s. And the killer is a war vet. And he is on a vendetta. And it doesn't really give you much more than that. It's kind of just a slasher movie. If you want to watch this guy kill people for no great reason and see the gore effects that Tom Savini's pulling off, that's what this movie is. But the setting's cool. Like, I love the 50s, 60s style. It kind of feels like night. It feels like what the hell's the name of that movie? Night of the Creeps. Sorry, Jesus, my brain. Feels like Night of the Creeps, and I don't want to give much away because there's not much story. What I said so far is about as much as I can say. Phenomenal special effects and kills. And then at number 9, I'm going to knock out Poor Things. This is one of the weirdest movies I've seen in years. This is kind of like a female empowerment sex movie. Emma Stone has like 30 sex scenes in this movie. Every position, different lengths. Basically, it's like a tale. It's hard to describe because there's some things in the movie that don't actually make sense. So you just have to leave them out. Like, why the fuck is Willem Dafoe blowing like bubbles and shit out of his mouth? Like giant bubbles that just float around. There's a bunch of shit in the movie that I don't get. I don't actually understand what they're going for. So I just look past that. But it's basically a Frankenstein-style movie where she's created. And then she leaves the house and goes on a sexual awakening journey. And just bangs a whole bunch of dudes. That's what this movie it's hard. It's a 3.5 from me, but it's not just because of sex scenes. It's because of the quality of the filmmaking and the acting, and it's just really fucking well made. Kind of ridiculous for what the movie is. It's just a sexploitation film, but it feels like high quality. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, I can't really spoil much because there isn't like tons to spoil when it comes to storyline. It's mostly you just gotta watch this one for yourself and take what you get from it. It's kind of hard to take someone else's meaning when this is a kind of one of those like movies where you kind of make up your own meaning. But yeah, Poor Things at number 9. Now at number 8, pulling from the front here, this is from Arrow Video. This is The Stylist. This one caught me off guard a couple years ago when it came out. It came out in 2021, 2022-ish, 2020, something like that. It's a 2020s movie. Very caught me off guard big time. Just comes with the Blu-ray. If you've ever seen the movie Maniac, the original or the remake, it's a lot like that. This girl is just socially awkward, and you follow her the entire movie as she scalps people and puts them on her mannequin dolls and wears the hair that she scalps of girls, and it's a lot like Maniac, the female version. And the actress here playing the lead does a phenomenal job. The fuck is her name? I've seen her in other things. She was in like that movie Contracted, where she's passing like an STD around. Najara Townsend? Yeah, Najara Townsend is her name. It's also got Bree Grant, who's in lots of things. You'd know her if you've seen her. But she befriends this girl who's getting married. When I say befriends, I mean some of the most socially awkward friendship stuff I've ever seen in a movie. Like, it shocked me. This is 3.5 pushing towards 4 for me. And it's just really uncomfortable. It's like you feel for the girl, but yet she's fucked in the head. So it's really, it walks this line. And then it ends with just a ridiculous scene that's both disturbing and just like shocking and just like funny. Like it's kind of fucked up. I liked it. This one shocked me. 3rd time watch for that. Liked it the same each time. Next up at number 7, I have my final of the Evil Dead franchise. Now I've ranked them all in previous episodes and this one. And that's Evil Dead Rise. 4K here looks beautiful. I had the Blu-ray, and then this 4K went on sale on Amazon for like $12, and I was like, I'll upgrade for that price. Sure. Be honest, it didn't really need to. It kind of looks the exact same, but this comes with the Blu-ray too, so whatever. Now I have the slip-covered 4K. Evil Dead Rise. This one's hard because the first time I watched it, I gave it like a 2.5. And I was kind of disappointed that they just reused the same scenes I've seen over and over again in other Evil Dead movies, basically. And they call it paying homage. But at a certain point, I mean, you're just out of ideas and you're reusing the same kills again and again and same sequences. But it is what it is. It's still fun. And I enjoy all the characters, except for the lead actress. Not the one that gets possessed, but her sister. Not a big fan of her acting in this. I find her just kind of dull. But other than her, everybody else does a great job. All the kids slowly getting possessed and brutal shit happening to them is horrific. I like how they wrap it all up with the ending. The opening scene is pretty freaking awesome. I love the opening like credits where the Evil Dead Rise pops up. I think that's done phenomenal. And yeah, if you haven't seen Evil Dead Rise, if you like the Evil Dead franchise, it's a worthy addition. 3.5. Could probably be a 4, but if they had another thing I think brought this down, and I think it did for everybody, and that's the trailer. The trailer. This is one of the movies that made me realize that I have to be done watching movie trailers. Because they reveal too much. Like, they show you pretty much every single awesome scene in the movie trailer. And that just bums me out. It's like you watch a movie and then you're just waiting for all those awesome scenes you've seen, and then once they happen, you're like, oh, there's no other awesome scenes that you didn't show us? So that dropped it a bit. This would have probably been an easy 4 if those two little things didn't happen. But yeah, 7th place out of a 20 Battle Royal is pretty damn good. And now we're taking her to 6th place. And that is David Cronenberg's The Brood from Criterion here. I've talked about this movie on my channel before. It comes with this cool little poster. I'll show it in case you haven't seen it. For some people, these things, I show them, like it has all the writing on the inside on the one side. And then it gives you this poster here on the other side if you just want to put that up instead. But I always show those just because I know the selling point for a lot of people is the extras, like the cool shit that these come with. Especially when you're paying Criterion Collection's premium price that they ask for everything. 1979. Excellent movie. This is a 3.5 again for me. 2 of 4. Probably more of a 4, but we'll leave it at a 3.5. That's what I rated it on Letterboxd. And just some uncomfortable ass scenes. And this, I've talked about it before on my channel. Cronenberg's known for his body horror, and he delivers in this. From creepy kids with, what do you call that when you have the lip that's up like, oh man, I can't remember the name of it. Cleft lip? I can't remember the name of it. So I'm not even going to try. All the creepy little demonic kids. And this woman is, I'll keep it short. Like, a guy, his wife and him are having problems. She's seeing a therapist. And all these little kids are just killing people throughout the movie. And there's twists and stuff. It has to do with the wife. And then I've also heard that David Cronenberg was going through a really brutal divorce when this movie was made. So, and you can tell, like, when you know that, you're like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Because it kind of feels like that. Like your evil wife stealing your children and turning them against you kind of feeling. You can feel that in the movie. but it ends with some nasty ass body horror, like growths on bodies that are like, ugh, blood galore. It's got some dirty shit in the final act. Solid movie. If you haven't seen The Brood, you have to check it out. It's a good one. Now I'll crack in my top 5 here. I'll stand them up a little bit, give them some room to breathe. This is a really tough final 5, and 2 of these movies are very modern. I guess I can't stand them all up. Fuck, this is gonna fall over. 2 of these movies are extremely modern. Strange Darling and Smile 2, I believe, are both, like Smile 2 is a 2024 movie. And Strange Darling, I believe, is 2023, I think. I think it hit festivals in like 2022, but whatever. They're both very modern. And next up at number 5, I'm eliminating Strange Darling. Didn't watch the trailer for this, but this is one where it doesn't matter if you do, because this is a well-crafted movie trailer. Like, so I've heard. I haven't seen it, but I've heard that the trailer helps sell the movie and doesn't give it away. Because this is truly a movie where you don't want to know anything going into it. Like, nothing. If you do know some things, it's not going to be as good for you as it is for everyone else, because the movie is like, it tells its story in parts, like part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but they're out of order. So you'll start with like part 3, and then you'll bounce to part 1, and then just part 6, and it just tells it all out of order. But it does it very well crafted. And then the lead acting here is off the charts. Who's the guy here? Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald. Both phenomenal. The reason why I only gave this a 4, and it's getting eliminated next, is because I actually thought that it was a little bit predictable. I guessed the ending before it happened. Like, there's a certain spot in the hotel room. I'm not going to reveal anything. I don't know spoilers. There's a certain spot in the hotel room where I pieced it together, and I already knew where this movie was going. So if I didn't piece that and think of that, then it probably would have been a 4.5. But I left it at a 4 just because I figured it out early, and then it was just kind of waiting to get there. But the ride to get there was so well made and well done, well acted, that it was worth the 4. It's a must see. Great stuff. Next up here, where am I? Number 4? At number 4, I'm eliminating The Mist, based on the Stephen King book. I'm guessing pretty much everyone's seen The Mist. This is the cool version too that comes with the black and white edition, which I highly recommend watching. I think it's like possibly an entire star. It's hard to say that because I would still give the movie a 4, but that black and white edition, it keeps it at a 4, but it feels like just it was made to be in black and white. It feels like a classic monsters movie, and it helps because the CG isn't that good in some spots. So the black and white really helps. So I recommend watching that version. But it's a shocker of a movie. Like, 1 second here. It feels like a made-for-television movie, and it's not supposed to be as good as it is. But it ends up being really well made, and just, it leaves you with a bleak-ass fucking ending. that's like gut-wrenching. And if you haven't seen it, you need to check it out, because I honestly, I can't really say much. It's just got, everyone's trapped in a mall in this town, and there's giant creature invasion. And it's the whole, you can't see through the mist. The mist, it's basically the fog, but the mist. And every time they try to leave this mall, they get encounters with other giant creatures, leading to great stuff happening. So yeah, check it out. If you haven't seen The Mist, check it out. It's a 4 out of 5. Now for my controversial final 3 here. Tremors, Suspiria, and Smile 2. The reason why I said this is controversial is because I imagine most people are probably thinking, what the fuck is Smile 2 doing in your final 3? Because I know this is a hit and miss movie, mostly miss. But I absolutely love, and this is my number 3 of this episode, I fucking love Smile 2. I went to the theater to watch this, and I loved it in the theater because I suffer from severe anxiety and panic attacks. And this movie gave me a couple when I was in the theater. And I know I've said this before, that when I go into movie theaters, I'm already having like minor panic attacks. So it doesn't take much to trigger full panic attacks for me. And this movie gave me a couple. Just from the scene where one of the characters is smashing their own face in with a weight. It did me in the theater for some reason. I don't know why. I've seen thousands of insane gore movies. But this one, this lead actress, who I knew her name and now I've blanked, and because I'm doing a Steelbook, guess what? Her name isn't on it, and now I can't fucking call her out. But the lead actress here, she also played Jasmine in the Aladdin live action movie. She is phenomenal to me. Like, I think that she was snubbed in the acting department during this award season, because everyone's saying that Demi Moore was phenomenal, and the young girl from The Substance was phenomenal. I think this girl deserves to be right in that category with them. Like, she's fucking selling this whole movie and her intensity. And, like, I feel for her and her insanity. And then the ending, like, I feel for her character. You got Jack Nicholson's son here. He gets a cover spot on the Steelbook, which is a beautiful Steelbook, too. I like the white here. It's nice. Everybody does an excellent job. And I think, yes, the story's predictable, somewhat. It took me a little bit to predict the full ending, but I know a lot of people predict this early, and that was their downfall of it. But even when you can predict it early, I honestly still think that it's such a solid, scary fucking movie. Like, it's just damn good. Don't care what anyone says. It's good. I gave this a 4.5. So, like, to me, this is near perfection. It's kind of fucking crazy, I know. I just love it. And then there's the running joke with the Voss water that she just chugs relentlessly throughout this movie. It's fucking insane. Here's a digital giveaway, too. 4K for Smile 2. Anybody that wants that can grab it up. If anybody watches digital movies, create a digital library. I think I've given away probably 30 to 40 of these digital codes from different movies. Usually 4K editions. I'm hoping my camera picked that up. I'll try one more time and a little bit closer just to make sure here. But yeah, Smile 2. Must see. It's one of my favorite horror movies of 2024. And it deserves its number 3 spot here. But unfortunately for it, it's going up against 2 fucking classics. These both are 5s from me. And to be honest, was a hard one to pick my favorite out of these two movies. Like a lot of like when I'm doing these and I'm putting these 20 movies together for each battle royal, I don't even think about it. It's not like I predetermine my winner. I basically, as I'm watching them, I just put them into my letterboxd lists for 20 movies, and I just rank them as they end. So it's like fresh rankings, and then I decide right there on the spot. And so I don't predetermine what's going against what here. That's why some of the episodes I have like five-star movies in one episode. But I'm going to have to, and this hurts me a lot because I love both these movies, but I'm eliminating Tremors. This nice thick collector's edition from Arrow here. Beautiful packaging on this thing. I've already showed it off on my channel before. I don't need to do it again. Comes with, I think it's just the 4K. And then you got a book and a poster. And then it came with like a smaller Graboid poster that I put up over here on the wall. I just love Tremors. I watched it. This was one I watched young. And I remember playing games with my friends on playgrounds when I was a kid where you couldn't touch the sand because tremors are going to get you. And it's a freaking classic. All the actors here are fun, like funny, quirky acting style. Kevin Bacon, everybody. Got Reba McEntire in here. Tons of people. Michael Gross. Yeah, everyone's seen Tremors. I don't need to sell this. The Graboids are one of the greatest, I think, designed creatures of all time. Like I do think that they belong on the Mount Rushmore of like best designed monsters and creatures. And just creepy concept. Giant fucking underground worms and just listen to you and suck you under the ground, and it's good shit, man. That's why this was fucking hard to decide which one of these two make it to my final 16. King of the Ring, we'll call it, which is also a wrestling tournament that they have for my non-wrestling fans. The King of the Ring is where they take a certain set amount, obviously enough. You can either be 8 or 16. But that leaves my number 1. And this one is an absolute masterpiece. This 4K from Synapse here is a must-own if you like this movie. Even if you don't. I had to pay quite a bit for this here in Canada. It was kind of ridiculous how much they charge for some of these collector's editions, but I got it early enough so I still got the slip. It's got the classic artwork underneath. Comes with your Synapse Films catalog, which is nice. Comes with the 4K, and then a Blu-ray full of special features. But Suspiria is such a perfect witch movie to me. Everything about this movie. Like, I have watched this one. I only watched this for the first time, like 5-6 years ago. So it's not like I have this deep nostalgia with it. So that's why I had such a hard time that Suspiria knocks out one of my childhood faves. But I just think that the fucking witchcraft and the music, the color palette, the score by Goblin in this is like one of my favorite. Even just the one song that they play throughout the whole movie. I fucking love it. Everything. The kills are all fantastical and like just overdone. Like they just go on too long, but I love that part of it. I think that the witch ends up being a creepy ending, obviously. The ballet school setting is really fucking cool. Just I can't scream enough good things. I can't even say one bad thing about Suspiria. And almost gave me a stutter there as a Suspiria. So yeah, it's gonna have to take my crown. My 5th win. My 5th winner is Suspiria. and it makes it to my top 16 King of the Ring tournament. It's got some fucking stiff competition so far, I'll tell you. But it did a decent job with that. I will show off the stack quick here. Usually I don't do that, but I will do one quick stack there. It's my ranking from bottom to top. Number 20 to number 1. No dual packs in this. I think all my other episodes have had at least one pack where it was multiple movies in one, and that's why this took up so much of the ring, because it was 20 individual releases. But yeah, everything from, like, we'll say 2 witches up are must grabs in your collection. And then the other ones are only if you're like super fans of the genres or super collectors like me, like Kino Cult. I'm trying to finish off that entire line. I want to collect them all as they're going. I have like 17 of them and they've released 24, so I'm pretty close to completing that line. So yeah, that's my episode. Thank you so much for joining me. Suspiria with a really close second place Tremors. But I will bring you round 6 within a couple of days. I already got them watched and prepped and ready. Well, thank you.